without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first panelist, DeAnn Rosenberry, who is a Senior and Caregiver Services Senior Program Manager at FSA. She is fabulous, and her topic is the benefits of healthy aging at home, wherever that may be. So, Miss DeAnn, come on up.
Okay, so what I want to talk about a little bit today is what would it look like to help us stay where we are right now or live where we are right now, wherever that might be. The point of what I want to talk about today is what can we do to be proactive to live in our place where we are now. Some of the common terms are aging in place. If you've heard that, that's kind of a common term. So we're going to talk about some ideas and some tips in order to stay where you are. Because statistics have shown, research has shown, that most people want to stay where they are. So we're just going to kind of go from that premise if we can today. Good to go? All right. So first thing, we're going to talk about 5 different domains or so, 5 or 6. First thing to know, too, is that age-related conditions like hearing or vision loss or sleeping difficulties, bone and muscle loss, diabetes, hypertension, some of these things can all be affected by our inability to perhaps live and age where we want to be. So that's part of what we want to counteract is what can we do to be proactive in order to live where we want to live and stay where we want to stay and age in place. So one of the first things we can do is we want to eat really good, nutritious food and meals because we know that what we put into our bodies is going to help fuel us in order to take care of some of our other needs. So eating healthily is crucial to maintaining your health, which can help you maintain your independence. Sometimes we don't have the energy to cook. I get that sometimes. But our bodies still need the food and the fuel. So consider perhaps maybe going to local senior centers where you might qualify for congregate meals that are provided by outsiders, by agencies, so that you may have a nutritious meal, or have meals delivered to your home. Another thing, this is, we're just kind of talking broad spectrum here, lots of different ideas. One possible thing is maybe considering sharing a meal with a friend or a neighbor. Let's say I'm going to cook on a Monday and I'm going to make a whole bunch of good food and I'm going to share it with my neighbors, and then Tuesday somebody else will cook a meal. That takes a little planning, a little effort. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Again, we're just talking about maybe some broad ideas to help us kind of stay where we are. Another thing to do perhaps is asking a friend or a neighbor to make a meal one day a week. Sometimes people just want to be asked, and if you ask them, they are more than happy to provide what you need. Another thing is scheduling your medical appointments with your doctor. We want to maintain our health, and we want to address those issues that appear very quickly so that we're eating nutritiously, we're making sure that we see our medical physicians, and sometimes you can ask a friend to go with you to help remember to ask those questions, or 4 ears are better than 2 sometimes, so that's something that you can do is have someone come with you to the doctor's office. Another thing too is another way to be able to stay where you are is make sure that if you've got medications, you want to take those medications on the day, on the time, with food, without food, for whatever that looks like. One of those pieces of staying where you want to be is taking your medications. So do we have those medication organizers, those little things? I mean, I've got one for vitamins and so forth, and they're really helpful. Or ask a friend to help you organize what kind of medications you might need. Another thing is if you need help managing your finances or health insurance, that can be a huge kind of headache if we have to tackle those things ourselves. So there's lots of community resources for financial planning and assistance, and many agencies throughout our county offer services on navigating the health insurance process, managing Medi-Cal and Medicare. There's HICAP to talk about health insurance, and you can also ask a trusted friend. This is, having that extra set of eyes, that extra set of ears. Maybe somebody in the community knows someone else who knows someone, that kind of thing. Another really important thing to maintain our healthy aging is knowing that, and I know we've all experienced this over the last several years, isolation can be deadly. We've seen it, and we've all probably experienced some level of that during the stay-at-home orders. So our social connections are really crucial to our health. So we want to maintain or begin. If we've lost our community connections, let's start over. Let's jump back in. We want to be able to go to local clubs. Maybe you want to attend your church or your other faith-based organizations. It's really important to our overall health. Food, medication, doctor visits, maintaining social connections is really crucial to our overall well-being, which helps us to stay where we want to stay. There's lots of local senior centers that provide activities. There's physical activities, or there's arts and crafts, or there's ceramics, there's sewing, knitting. There's lots of things that we can do to help promote non-isolation, so promote connection. And that also helps to build this kind of whole person perspective of how we age in place. Go to classes at senior centers, like I just mentioned. Another thing, this is really great because a lot of us don't want to work for the rest of our lives. So some of you might be retired or not, but maybe, and I know somebody in this room would like to have maybe a little more hours to have something productive. Volunteer, oh my goodness. The pet shelters, senior centers, libraries, oh my goodness, there's lots of different opportunities that we can have to stay active and engaged. There's museums. You can even visit older adults or make phone calls. Gary Linker's in the room who has volunteer phone calls. I mean, there's plenty of things to do. And I encourage you to do it. And if you need some help, give us a call. We'll help and get you going. Another thing, and this is a little, I don't know about this, but exploring technology can help us age in place and stay where we want to be. We want to be able to try to gain a level of comfort with our devices. Some of us don't have devices. That's okay too. I know libraries have computers that we have access to. So just gaining a little more comfort with the technology. We can utilize the computer. We can also maintain that contact with our healthcare providers through the internet or through our smartphones. So just keeping that in mind too. That's that whole person approach. You might consider a smartwatch or a similar device because these things are great. I was working in the yard a couple weeks ago and I was whacking on something and my phone said, "Have you fallen?" I said, "No, I'm good, thank you," but these work. So that's something to consider. And you don't have to have a smartwatch, you can have something else. Just knowing too that we're looking at all kinds of different funding to help provide some of these devices to folks that can't just not necessarily afford them because they're not cheap, that's for sure. Some of these smart devices can, like I said, detect your falls, can monitor heart rates, blood oxygen levels, blood pressure, another piece of staying at home and being healthy where we are. You can also attend classes. I know there's classes all over the community for developing our skills with computers and smart devices, and they're more than happy to assist us with that. Another way that we can engage and use the technology is we can play games. We can engage with family members. How many of us did a lot of Zoom or FaceTime with our family members when we couldn't see them? So that's another reason perhaps to look at technology. This is a big one right here. This is all big, but this is really a big one. We want to ensure that our living space, where we live, where our home is, that it's safe. And what that means is we want to adapt our living spaces so that we aren't opening ourselves up to unnecessary risks. So one thing that we want to say too is that some folks can actually qualify for some of the community services and some of the funding to install grab bars and ramps and those kinds of things. So if that's something that you need or you're looking at, there's resources out there for us for that. Another thing that we want to do to help us stay healthy is we want to get rid of those loose throw rugs. I know they're pretty, they're nice, but they are a trip and a risk factor. So just keeping in mind that that lovely thing that you bought and you love it, we might want to get rid of it or put those sticky things down, perhaps. Just something to think about. Like I said, we might want to install handrails, grab bars. We want to use the U-shaped bars and not diagonal ones because they can create like a hand slippage. We can have grip-friendly faucets too, and we put jar openers in everybody's bags. So those are amazing. I have those and I don't live without them. They're great. We can also put in some non-slip flooring throughout the bathroom and shower area. And you can use those non-skid bath mats. They cost a little bit more, but it's worth your help. Trust me on that one. We also want to make sure that our interior and our exterior lighting is bright and spaces are well lit. We can put in motion detectors inside and out so that you're not stumbling around in the dark. Plug in night lights wherever you need to. We also want to remove any obstacles on the floors to prevent tripping. So we've got this maybe beautiful thing right here or whatever, and if I catch my foot on it, I need to move it. So we just want to make sure we're not tripping and falling at home. If you need a ramp, like I said before, we've got some funding and some resources in the community throughout the county. If you're eligible to install those are really handy, especially if you don't have one of those walk-in tubs, if you just have the basic tub. But if you don't have a ramp and you do have stairs, I know I have stairs at home, I have only one handrail on one side. Let's have somebody install another one so that you've got two handrails going up and going down the stairs. Both ways are really important. And perhaps installing those contrast strips at the bottom or the top of your stairs, because I know sometimes I'll run down in the dark and I think I've got one more step, but I don't. So something like that, perhaps reflective. Also, too, maybe, and we talked about this, adding some non-slip strips. Say that 3 times. Non-slip strips to slick surfaces. Oh my goodness, outside your home. So just being really mindful that, when we do get rain, it can get pretty intense, and so we might have some puddles and some wet areas. The last thing I'll talk about is beware of scams, because if we get hit with a scam, we might lose our home, our savings account, and then we're in trouble. So, scams. There's plenty of people out there, they're preying on older adults like us. We are easy targets. One scam, I don't know if you've heard about it, but your phone rings, let's say middle of the night, and the person says, "Grandma," and I'm a grandma, and if I think it's someone, if it makes me think that it's my grandchild, I'm gonna say, "Joni or Margot," and then they're gonna say, "Yes, Grandma, I need help." So just be aware. There's scam awareness out there everywhere. We can help you dig into some of those things. But never, ever, ever give your social security number over the phone, your bank account number, your credit card number. So if someone calls you, don't give any of that. I don't care how good they sound, how desperate they sound, don't do it. If you make the call, if I'm gonna call my bank or my credit card, or I'm gonna call Maria at Montecito Bank and Trust, I'm safe in giving my information to her because that's a trusted source. And consider not answering your phone to a number that you don't know. I never answer my phone if it's a number that I don't know, because if it's important and it's urgent, they're either going to leave a message, they're going to text me, or they're going to call back. So it's really important to just be really smart and mindful. Well, let's outsmart those guys, okay? Let's outsmart them. So we talked, I think that's it for me. We talked about several different domains on how we stay in our places where we want to be as long as possible. And hopefully these tips will give you some things to think about. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you need help, if you want to talk about where that funding is for perhaps things, come find me, call me, come to the tables. We're really eager to help and assist in any way possible. I'm so glad you're here. I really am. It's just such a joy that you're here. Thank you.